Hi, this is the second video in the series for example sums where the issue is oversubscribed. Let's go on to the example sum. Example sum. AXT Limited issued 40,000 shares of rupees 10 each, payable as rupees 2 per share on application, rupees 4 per share on allotment, and the balance in 2 equal installments. Applications were received for 80,000 shares and the allotment was made as under. Category A, applicants of 50,000 shares were allotted 30,000 shares. Category B, applicants of 30,000 shares were allotted 10,000 shares. Neeraj, to whom 600 shares were allotted from Category A, failed to pay the allotment money. Pass the necessary journal entries up to allotment only. So we'll begin with the working notes. We'll write down the breakup on the side. Application, allotment, first call, and the final call. Issues at par, and the face value is 10 rupees. So the issue price is also rupees 10. Amount is payable rupees 2 on application, 4 on allotment, and the balance in 2 equal installments. So the balance is 2 rupees first call and 2 rupees final call. So let's go ahead with preparing the table. Category, number of shares applied, number of shares allotted, application, money received, application, money transferred to share capital, refund, allotment, money due, excess, application, transferred to allotment, and bank account to allotment. Under category A, applications of 50,000 shares were allotted 30,000 shares. So against 50,000 shares, the number of shares allotted is 30,000 shares. And under category B, for 30,000 shares applied, 10,000 shares were allotted. The total number of shares applied, 80,000 shares, and the total number of shares allotted, 40,000 shares. Application money received column. Let's finish category A first. 50,000 shares applied multiplied by 2 rupees per share, which is 1 lakh rupees. Application money transferred to share capital, 30,000 shares allotted multiplied by 2 rupees per share, 60,000 rupees. There will be no refund. Allotment money due, number of shares allotted 30,000 multiplied by 4 rupees allotment per share, 1,20,000 rupees. excess application transfer to allotment, answer of the fourth column minus the answer of the fifth column. 1 lakh rupees minus 60,000 rupees is the excess application money. So that's 40,000 rupees. And the bank to allotment, the amount that will be paid is 1,20,000 minus 40,000 rupees, which is 80,000 rupees. Let's move on to category B. Application money received, 30,000 shares applied, multiplied by 2 rupees per share, 60,000 rupees. Application money transferred to share capital, 10,000 shares allotted, multiplied by application money 2 rupees per share, 20,000 rupees. There will be no refund. Allotment money due is number of shares allotted, 10,000 shares, multiplied by allotment money of 4 rupees per share, 40,000 rupees. Excess application transferred to allotment. The excess application money is 60,000 rupees minus the 20,000 rupees, comes up to 40,000 rupees. So we will transfer excess application money of rupees 40,000 to the allotment in the second category, and therefore there is no amount which will be paid on allotment. 40,000 minus 40,000, nil. Let's total up the columns. Total of application money received, 1,60,000 rupees. Total of application money transferred to share capital, 80,000 rupees. Refund, nil. Allotment money due, 1,60,000 rupees. Excess application transfer to allotment, 80,000 rupees. And bank to allotment is also 80,000 rupees. So this was the working note 1. Now we need to deal with the situation where Neeraj, to whom 600 shares were allotted from category A, failed to pay the allotment money. So let's calculate the allotment money which is not paid by Neeraj. That's working note 2. Allotment money not paid by Neeraj. Now, Neeraj belongs to category A, and we can use the unitary method to find out how much of allotment money is not paid by Neeraj. So the first column will be number of shares allotted, and for the number of shares allotted, how much of allotment money will be paid, which is bank to allotment figure. Now in category A, for 30,000 shares allotted, the amount payable on allotment after adjusting excess application money is 80,000 rupees. Therefore, Neeraj, who was allotted 600 shares, would have to pay 600 multiplied by 80,000 divided by 30,000 shares. Which is rupees 1,600 Neeraj would have to pay on allotment which was not paid by him. So I'll deduct 1,600 from the 80,000 which we were supposed to receive on allotment. 78,400 is the amount which we received on allotment. So the working notes are done. Let's go ahead with preparation of journal entries. Solution. In the books of AXT Limited. Journal. We have date/serial number, particulars, LF number, debit rupees and credit rupees. The first journal entry for application money received: bank account debit to share application account for the application money received. The amount is the total of the fourth column of application money received, which is 1,60,000 rupees. Second entry, share application account debit ₹1,60,000 to share capital account. The amount against share capital account is the total of the fifth column, application money, which is transferred to share capital, 80,000 rupees, and to share allotment account. The amount against share allotment account is the amount of excess application money transferred to allotment, which is the total of the eighth column. That's 80,000 rupees. So, narration, application money utilized. The third entry is to make the allotment money due. Share allotment account debit to share capital account for allotment money due. The allotment money due amount is the answer of the seventh column, allotment money due, 1,60,000 rupees. Next entry, bank account debit to share allotment account for allotment money received. The allotment money received amount is the answer of the bank to allotment column, the last and final column, the ninth column. But we need to write it after subtracting the amount of 1,600 which was not paid by shareholder Neeraj. So we've actually received 78,400 rupees because Neeraj did not pay 1,600 amount on allotment. The question asked us to pass journal entries only up to the stage of allotment, which we have completed. The journal entries are done. I'll remove the split. We can view the answer. So that's the table at the top. and these are the journal entries. Next example sum. A Limited invited applications for 50,000 shares of rupees 10 each payable as follows. On application rupees 3, on allotment rupees 3, and on first and final call rupees 4. Applications were received for 1,10,000 shares. It was decided, first point, to refuse allotment to the applications of 10,000 shares. Second point, to allot 50% to X who has applied for 20,000 shares. Third point, to allot in full to Y who has applied for 10,000 shares. Fourth point, to allot balance of the available shares on pro rata basis among the other applicants. And the fifth point, to utilize excess application money in part payment of allotment and final call. We are asked to pass the journal entries till the stage of allotment if the total amount due on allotment is received. So we'll begin with the working notes. Now the number of columns in the table that we are going to prepare should be 3 additional columns, because the last fifth point says that the application money which is in excess has to be adjusted. After adjusting towards allotment, it should also be adjusted towards the final call. So 9 plus 3 columns. So our table should have 12 columns. I'll write down the breakup on the right side. Application, allotment, and the final call. The face value is rupees 10, issues at par, so the issue price is also rupees 10. 3 rupees payable on application, 3 rupees payable on allotment, and 4 rupees on the final call. Let's go on to prepare the table. Category, number of shares applied, number of shares allotted, application money received, application transferred to share capital, refund, allotment money due, excess application to allotment, bank to allotment, final call due, excess application to final call, and bank to final call. Category 1, to refuse allotment to the applicants for 10,000 shares. So against number of shares applied, 10,000. for which no shares are allotted. Category 2, to allot 50% to X who has applied for 20,000 shares. So against 20,000 shares applied by X, the company allots 10,000 shares, 50% of 20,000. The third category, to allot in full to Y who has applied for 10,000 shares. So 10,000 shares applied, 10,000 shares allotted. The last category is pro rata. We'll put it as a balancing figure. The total of the number of shares applied column. Applications were received for 1,10,000 shares. So the total has to be 1,10,000 shares. And the total of the number of shares allotted column. A Limited invited applicants for 50,000 shares. So the company cannot issue or allot more than 50,000 shares. So the balancing figure in the fourth category for the number of shares applied is 70,000 shares, against which 30,000 shares are allotted. So these are the categories. We'll fill up the columns. Against category 1, we'll complete application money received, 10,000 shares applied multiplied by 3 rupees per share, 30,000 rupees. Since the shares are rejected, no application money is transferred to share capital. Refund column will have 30,000 rupees and all the other columns will have dash. Second category, application money received, 20,000 shares applied multiplied by 3 rupees per share, 60,000 rupees. Application money transferred to share capital, 10,000 shares allotted multiplied by 3 rupees per share, 30,000 rupees. There is no refund. The allotment money due, number of shares allotted 10,000 multiplied by allotment money of 3 rupees per share. Excess application which is transferred to allotment, the amount of excess application money is 60,000 minus 30,000, which is 30,000 itself, and therefore no money is payable on allotment since the entire amount due on allotment is provided by the excess application money. Final call due amount, 10,000 shares allotted multiplied by 4 rupees per share, 40,000 rupees. There is no excess application money, so that's dash, and bank to final call is 40,000 rupees. We'll move on to the third category. Number application money received, 10,000 shares applied multiplied by 3 rupees per share, 30,000. Application money transferred to share capital, 10,000 shares allotted multiplied by 3 rupees per share, 30,000 rupees. There is no refund because it's full allotment. Allotment money due, 10,000 shares allotted multiplied by 3 rupees per share payable on allotment. There is no excess application money. Bank to allotment is 30,000 rupees. Final call money due, 10,000 shares allotted multiplied by 4 rupees per share, comes up to 40,000 rupees. Again, there is no excess application to transfer to the final call, and bank to final call would be 40,000 rupees. We'll move on to the last category, the fourth category. Application money received, 70,000 shares applied multiplied by 3 rupees per share, 2,10,000 rupees. Application money transferred to share capital, 30,000 shares allotted multiplied by 3 rupees per share, 90,000 rupees. We'll come back to the refund column. Allotment money due, 30,000 shares allotted multiplied by 3 rupees per share, 90,000 rupees. Excess application to allotment, the amount of excess application money is 2,10,000 rupees minus 90,000 rupees, which comes up to 1,20,000 rupees, but it's subject to 90,000 because that's the amount which is due on allotment. So bank to allotment is nil. We still have 30,000 rupees which can be transferred to the final call. The final call money due, 30,000 shares multiplied by 4 rupees per share, 1,20,000 rupees. Excess application to final call, the 30,000 excess application money will be transferred, and bank to final call, 1,20,000 minus 30,000 rupees, 90,000 rupees. So let's total up the columns. The total of application money received, 3,30,000 rupees. Total of application money transferred to share capital, 1,50,000 rupees. The total of the refund column is 30,000 rupees. The total of the allotment money due, 1,50,000 rupees. Total of excess application money which is transferred to allotment is 1,20,000 rupees, and bank to allotment is 30,000 rupees total. The total of the final call money due, 2 lakh rupees. Excess application transferred to final call, the total 30,000 rupees, and bank to final call, the last column total is 1,70,000 rupees. So we've completed the table. It is easy for us to pass the journal entries now. We will go ahead and pass the journal entries. Solution. In the books of A Limited, journal, date / serial number, particulars, LF number, debit rupees, and credit rupees. First journal entry for the application money received. Bank account, debit to share application account for application money received. The amount against the entry is the total of the fourth column. Application money received, 3,30,000 rupees. The second entry, share application account debit, amount 3,30,000 rupees to share capital account. The amount against share capital account is the total of the fifth column, application money transferred to share capital, which is 1,50,000 rupees to share allotment account. The amount against share allotment account is the amount of the eighth column, excess application money transferred to allotment, 1,20,000 rupees. To calls and advance account, the amount of excess application money transferred to the Final call to be written against calls and advance account is the amount of the 11th column, excess application to final call, 30,000 rupees. To bank account, this is the amount which has been refunded. This is the total of the refund column, the 6th column, amount 30,000. We need to make a check if the total of the debit is equal to the total of the credit. So it's equal. So application money utilized for 50,000 shares and balance refunded. The total number of shares allotted is 50,000. So we've utilized whatever money we can for the 50,000 shares. The third entry is for the allotment money due, share allotment account debit to share capital account. For allotment money due, the amount is the total of the allotment money due column, the total of the 7th column, 1,50,000 rupees. Next entry is for receipt of allotment money, bank account debit to share allotment account. For allotment money received. The amount is the amount of the bank to allotment column, the 9th column. It's 30,000 rupees. So the question asks us to pass the journal entries only up to the stage of allotment. We have completed that. I'll remove the split. We can view the entries all together. So that's the table at the top. These are the journal entries. The first part of the journal entries. And the next part.